I'm making this video for those of you who are non-technical and want to build your first application, but you're asking the question, where do I begin? What platform do I use? What's the latest and greatest out there at the moment? And this is what I aim to answer. Now, we've tried a plethora of different applications on this channel, some good, some bad, and we've done honest reviews on them. So I want to look at one today called Dreamflow, which in my opinion is the best starting point for people with no coding experience who are not technical but want to develop out really stable web applications. It might not be something that is at an enterprise level, and I still believe you need to go the Claude Code, the cursor route when you get to that point. But this gets you to that MVP stage. It gets you to a point where you can share this application around and you can actually start validating it with users, send it to your friends and family, get their opinion on it, and see if it's a good idea to continue developing. So what I like about Dreamflow is it has three main capabilities. It has a visual code and agent capability, and it allows you to basically approach your code building, your app building in that way. You can build it visually, you can build it with an agent, you can build it and code it if you want to. Obviously, the people watching this video are probably non-coders, so likely not going to use that option, but it allows for that, which is awesome. So we're going to go through Dreamflow, we're going to look at its features, we're going to build out a little mini application. We are going to see how it compares to some of the kind of leaders in the space, Lovable, Replit, and see where it differentiates itself. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's go. So what is Dreamflow? Dreamflow is an AI-powered web or app builder. And what's cool about it is actually built by the guys from Flutterflow, which have around 2 million trusted developers and network and users. So it's already an established AI application builder, and now they've gone ahead and built out Dreamflow. So you know it's coming from a good source, which is awesome. And very simply, once you sign up, you can basically trigger its free plan. So if we go over here and we check out our plans, you can see you get a free plan, which is 10 credits per month, gives you enough to trial it out. Also, you can go up to the Hoppy plan for $20. And then if you're really super serious, go up to $50 a month. So very simply, it gives you a prompt box. In this prompt box, you'll enter in what you want to build in natural language. Just describe your application super simply. So I thought of an idea, and one thing I would really like to build out, and I haven't done this yet, is I hate using reminders on my iPhone. So essentially, I would like to do reminders a little bit better. And I would think, let's go with like a minimalist Kanban app type of approach. So I'll come up with this prompt, which is a minimalist Kanban app with drag and drop columns, project cards, and daily reminder notifications. So essentially, it's a way to add in some notes, create some reminders, have a little bit of a drag and drop functionality, keep it super minimal, and really make it personalized to you. That's essentially what I want to do. So I've popped that prompt in, and now I'm going to hit run. So it says here, I can't wait to build this. You can see I've added no images, no references, literally going to go off of the bat what Dreamflow give us. So now you can see over here, we've already got a name, Canvas Flow, and it's got a little bit of a description. Streamline your workflow with this elegant Kanban app offering intuitive drag and drop task management and gentle daily reminders. And there's obviously some more there. So it's given us our plan, right? So it's going to design the app's overall structure, which includes how the boards, columns, tasks are organized. It's then going to add the required dependencies. It's going to create a data model for us. It's going to build the main Kanban board, and it's going to then implement the drag and drop logic, which we've asked for. And finally, we'll complete the project. So that's on the left-hand side. And we've gone from prompt to now generate. And during the generation phase, it's building the code for us. Our hands are up. We're not doing anything. And you can actually see how it's going through its own reasoning. So essentially what it's doing is it's building out all the files that are behind our application. One of the most important files from a development standpoint is the architecture.md file, which I like what it's done here is that it's written that file and it's showcasing that file to us at the start. This gives us our full architecture that we would utilize from a development standpoint when we build out applications. In here, it's got, as you can see, overview, design approach, code features, or core features rather, all of the different components that we need in our application. This is kind of a requirements document from an architecture standpoint. So then it's bringing in all the dependencies, and it's literally going through the code really systematically here. It's going to be very interesting to see what the final product looks like, because I've had a look at some of their templates, which I'll showcase shortly, and the templates are awesome. I like the minimalist approach. that they take and how things look. A lot of the times when you're vibe coding, especially with like Lovable, you can see it's a Lovable app, right? It's got this way of how the user experience flows and how it looks, right? How the user interface looks, that you can see it's a Lovable app. Now you can see this as Dreamflow app, especially when you look at the templates, but I like how it looks. I think it looks a lot more professional, a lot more modern. And I'm very keen and hopeful that we get that with our application just off of one prompt. But let's see. While our application is actually building out, I'll showcase those templates to you. So if you come start from a template, you've got a dashboard and a UI playground. So if you go on the dashboard here, you can see how nice the dashboard looks. At least to me, I like this modern, minimal approach to how they've designed applications. You can always add to this, but this is a starting point. It's awesome, and it works. And it, all the user interface components are reactive, which is awesome. There's also what's great about this, a little trick that they've got, is they've got this UI playground, which is a showcase of 30 UI components for Flutter with dark and light themes. So you could essentially go through here and browse all the different blocks. So you can go to an accordion view. You can see how are they doing accordions, right? Cool. You can then deploy that straight into Dreamflow, which is awesome. We, up until this point, if you've seen any of my other videos, we've gone to 21st.dev or some other UI component libraries that are external. We copy the code and then we come back to our Lovable or Replit and we paste that in and say, please can you add this component? But here you can deploy from within Dreamflow, which is awesome. I haven't seen this anywhere else. So there's accordions, there's alerts, avatars, there's a range of others, but essentially anything that is a UI component down to buttons, it showcases those and allows you to kind of go through it and then go ahead and go and deploy them straight away. And a cool little thing here, whether you like this or not, I kind of like it, is while you're waiting for your code to be created, load up, and for us to get to this jump-in phase, you can see this little button over here, which is Play Asteroids. Now, when I saw this initially, I was like, what is this? And I clicked on it, and we can now move our mouse around, and we can play asteroids, which is awesome. And there we go. Our app is starting. But essentially, you can go ahead and play asteroids while you're waiting for your code to recreate, which is a cool little trick that they've added. And it's a way to buy time, which is awesome. Okay, so this is where we've landed with our Kanban board. We have to do, in progress, and done boards with some dummy data. I do wonder if I click on one of these, if this like free space on the right-hand side would populate with the task. No, it doesn't. So it actually pops up at the bottom here. So essentially that's something we could look to fix. But one of the things I want to highlight about Dreamflow is these little icons on the left-hand side here. The first one here has to do with our widget tree. So if we click on this, it opens up something called the widget tree. The widget tree is basically, it's categorized all of the different UI and widget components that are in our application. Now, an easy way, so you can go through this and kind of click on them. And when you do double click on anything, for example, this icon, you can go ahead and manually change the size, the color, the weight. You can do that without having to go to your agent, your prompt box, and prompt for it to change, which is cool. But one of the things I struggled with was, I was like, okay, which icon is this? It says icon of icon button in the app bar. I don't know where that is on my screen. And you can see the screen also gets quite small. So one of the things they've got is inspect mode. So if we turn inspect mode on, we get this little like purple and dotted white line around here. And you can see we have a very reactive sensor to our mouth as we move around and our cursor as we move around. So for example, if we go click on this over here, it moves the little gray highlighted bar to the right widget tree, or the right widget component that we're on. So in this case, if we double click on that, we open up the widget, and this is the to-do widget for the Kanban column. And we could go ahead and say, maybe we don't want to call it to-do, we want to call it to be completed. All right. We click off of that, we come back over here, we can close that, we can close our widget tree, and now it's changed to be complete or completed. So essentially, it's a very easy way for you to kind of make changes to your widgets, which is what I like from Dreamflow. Not a lot of other AI app builders have this. One of the other components I wanted to cover was this little button over here, which leads us to our assets. So it's essentially categorized into images, audio, videos, documents, fonts, files, and other. And essentially, it's folders of all the files or the assets that you would use in your application. I think back to when I was building out a skincare application for a major cosmetics company. And it was basically an AI powered skin analysis application that would take in documentation from a person's questionnaire, but as well as taking an image of them and then analyzing that image. We had to then save all those images in order to analyze it and basically use it in the report. Where do all of those go? They're going to assets. And if I had something like this from Dreamflow, where you could just go find the assets, and also if there was reference data, if I wanted to have some reference images, I can just copy and paste those straight into the images folder and then reference to them in our AI agent, which is pretty cool. Now, another thing to cover here is the connect to Supabase or the connect to Firebase. This is database connections. I've covered this a range of times in other videos where it's basically you have to connect the database to your application because that's what's going to store all your data. And Firebase and Supabase are the two most common ones. They're kind of cloud-based database as a service to a degree that are integrated into Dreamflow. What's nice about Dreamflow is they give you an option of one or the other. What I found with a lot of AI builders is it's either Supabase or it's Firebase. So from a Google Gemini perspective, Firebase is the way to go. From a Lovable perspective, it was Supabase up until now they're using their Lovable Cloud. So they have their own version. So essentially what I like about Dreamflow is you can go ahead and choose between one or the other. Connect to Supabase. It's super, super simple. Log in to your Supabase account, create a database, connect to that database, and then every single time records are created, it gets dynamically created by AI within Supabase or Firebase. You don't have to lift a finger. All right, so coming back to our application, one thing that popped up are these suggested prompts, which I like, right? So essentially we've given it a one prompt, it's built out our application, we're here now. And how many times do you get to a point where you're building out an application, you're like, okay, this looks great. Now, I don't know what I really should do next. Right? Well, with Dreamflow, you can see we've got 3 suggested prompts. We could implement a search functionality to filter the task by title or description. That sounds cool. We could add a feature to sort tasks within a column by priority or due date. Also great. Or we could create a recurring task feature with options for daily, weekly, or monthly repetition. So you can essentially go and say, okay, I want to select one of these and go through the process, right? It will take you nicely through the process of building on your application and doing your iterations for you and helping you along that journey, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and do the first one, which is implement a search functionality to filter tasks by title or description. Click on that and it loads it up and it sends it through. Okay, so while it was loading up, it gave us an error. So we've got a type error, cannot read properties of an undefined file. So essentially we could now have to go ahead and say, I got the following error, please help, and ask AI to help give us a solution for this error. What I don't particularly like here is I can't copy that text. So I can't copy this and paste it in. So I've got to basically describe the error. Well, I'm going to just go ahead and say, I got the following error. Hopefully it knows. But even doing that, there should essentially be a button that says fix error, or there should be an immediate, it's going to fix the error for me. So that's one of the things I think could be improved. But nevertheless, let's see how it deals with fixing the error. Okay, so it fixed our error really quickly. It did note here that it was happy to help. However, it doesn't see our error message, which made me a little bit nervous. But then right after that, it alternatively said, I'll check the logs, which it did automatically check the logs, identified the error, fixed the error. So that's cool. Big ups to Dreamflow on that. But I think something to add and something for them to fix potentially would be this automated fixing of errors, or at least a suggestion to the user that it can fix the error for you. All right, so aside from that, I wanted to also highlight 2 things. One is an awesome feature, which is light and dark mode already integrated. So we're currently on a dark mode for our application. If we click the little moon here, we go to light mode. So you can literally see how your application looks in both capabilities, which is awesome, or both modes. Another thing is here, if we go, we can look at how our application looks. So there's phone, tablet, desktop, expanded. If we go to tablets, you can see it looks a little bit better. But if we go to expanded, it actually looks exactly how we would want it to look, right? We don't have this prevailing kind of extra space, not a lot of it at least. And it looks a lot more functional, right? Versus our desktop view is quite large and there's a lot of space open over here. So essentially this expanded view is awesome. I just don't know what the expanded view really is. This is the thing for me, because I understand phone, tablet, desktop, but I don't know what expanded view is. So that's something I think we could get some clarity on from Dreamflow. But aside from that, it looks pretty good in all the other modes. We'll go back to desktop. And yeah, let's go ahead and add a new task. So if we click on new task, we add a title. So say I need to create the PRD for my app. And in here I can say PRD means products, requirements, documents. I need to complete this by end of day, Monday. Right? Something like that. Priority you can say is low. Due date, we can then go ahead and set our due date Monday. Cool. And we can go ahead and create that task. Cool. There we go. So it's actually created our task for us, given us a new little color. That's pretty awesome. Now I want to see if the drag and drop functionality works. So if we drag our create the PRD, say we're on Monday, it's now in progress, boom, it's in progress. And if we click on it, we can go over here and we can see our nothing's changed. That's all good. And then finally, once we're done, we can pop it over there and we completed our task. This would be obviously on Monday. So, I mean, a super simple Kanban view. It allows us to kind of create notifications, have those reminders, place them in progress, and place them when done. One thing we don't have is reminders. Essentially, what you could do here is go above and beyond and create, a reminder network or reminder automation with, say, something like N8N that triggers that whenever you get past a due date and something's still to be completed or in progress, then it will notify you maybe via email. So there's a lot of things we could add to this, but I think off the bat, off one prompt and fixing one little error, it's looking pretty good. Okay, so we can manually create new tasks, but what about using AI to create our tasks? Essentially, what I want to be able to do is add my notes and then use AI to take in those notes and say, okay, cool. These are some of the notes and the information that Jag has provided. I'll go ahead and create these as components in the Kanban board. So I've said, I want to add my OpenAI API key so I can write in a note and for a task to be created off of that. So forgive that horrible write-up that I wrote here, but let's send that through and let's see if it actually picks that up. Okay, so it's come back and it said it has added our OpenAI dependency and created the configuration file where we can add our API key, which I've done. So that's completed. It says it uses GPT-4o Mini to intelligently pass your notes and then create the structured task. So we've now got these three little like white stars, which is our AI task generator. So we can go ahead and click on that. It says write your note and it says describe what you need to do in natural language and AI will create a structured task for you. So what if I go and say, I need to complete the Figma design of my app by tomorrow. I click generate task. Okay, so we can see over here, complete Figma design of app. It's noted as high because we said by tomorrow, so it's created urgency, which is awesome. And if we click on that, finalize the Figma design for my app, set to high. So the due date is off. The due date is the 5th of the 10th, 2023. So we would need to, I think on the back end, this is just got the wrong starting date. So we just have to make sure that it knows what today's date is. But aside from the due date, it's really nailed what we wanted. It's created a title, it's used AI to create the description. It's noted it as a high priority just off that one little sentence I wrote. And that allows us to then use AI to create our notes, and we don't have to go and use the new task button, which is pretty cool, and a use of AI in our application. One of the last things I wanted to just cover is publishing. So there's a big publish button over here. If we click on that, there are 3 types of publishing we can do. You can do a publish to the web, which is the one-click deployment. You click this. We've got a URL we can share. If you have like an MVP, a proof of concept, you can share with friends and family. They can check it out. They can give you some inputs. Awesome. And then we've got iOS and Android. So these are a little bit more intricate, just mainly because you need an iOS developer account, which is $99 a year. And for Android, I do believe it's a $25 once-off payment. Do correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I do know for iOS it's $99 a year. And here you would need to create a developer account. But then you can go to, for example, iOS. You can fill in all the details. And obviously it actually looks like we need to upgrade our plan. So if you want to do iOS and Android deployment, it looks like you'll need to go from the free version at least up to one of the paid plans, which would make sense because you would need to go up to the paid plan if you're going to be developing an app out. But yeah, connect your developer account and then you can publish your app for review, which is pretty cool. And it allows you to at least do it from Dreamflow. Okay, so how would I wrap up Dreamflow? I think it's key for 3 types of people. 1, beginners, people who have never coded before in their life and want to build web and mobile applications. Go ahead, it is a great application to do that. It covers all the bases. 2 is for semi-technical people, people who do want to maybe trial out a few things, export the code, go to their IDE. Great. And that leads into 3, which is seasoned developers, but who want to prototype faster, who want to validate things faster. Dreamflow, I think, is still a go-to. You can get a POC up and running. You can get an MVP up and running. You can add in all the bells and whistles. You can add in AI, Supabase. You can build out what you need, export it, go validate it in the market. And if it works, then export it into a local IDE. You can download the code, bring it into a cursor with Claude Code and develop it out into something enterprise. And that is the video, everyone. If you want to try out Dreamflow, there'll be a link in the description below. Go check it out. Let me know in the comments what you're building. And one last ask is if you found some benefit with this video, please do consider liking and subscribing on the channel. Other than that, I will see you in the next video. Cheers.